listening to the Scoop Slam Podcast.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Scoop Slam Podcast. Once again, we are back with a week of wrestling to discuss. We got Dynamite, Saturday night's main event, and no Friday night SmackDown this week, Monday Night Raw, and little champ contender cut as per usual. But before we get too far into anything, let me go ahead and introduce my co-host. He is the historian of the Scoop Slam Podcast. We're going to get back to that in a little bit. It's Ryan.
Yo, Micah, live and in living color. We back to scoop it, slam it one more time, right before the Royal Rumble. And I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, I thought, for some reason, I thought Rumble was next weekend.
Next weekend? No, sir. It's always right before the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And then the Super Bowl, is that Super Bowl 2 weeks from now? Or is that, that's next, no, yeah, it's 2 weeks. Because the Pro Bowl's next week.
Yeah. No, next week is the Super Bowl because I'll be in Orlando.
What? Next week?
Yeah, next Sunday. Yeah. And I think if everything goes right, I don't know your schedule, and I hate to put you on the spot on the show, but I think we're going to be live on TikTok with the Royal Rumble this weekend.
It is, but it's an early show. It's 5 o'clock our time.
Really?
Yeah, because they were saying 6 Central they say 6 Eastern. And I mean, we're Central time, so that'd be 5, right?
Yeah.
So, and they said that's the start time to the show, not the kickoff. So we're going early.
Hey, that's
something big happening. Something big happening Saturday? Is a UFC event or something?
Not that I know of. I know they just had one like last weekend, but I don't keep track of it as much as I used to. But regardless, yeah, they don't have any stars anymore. All the stars went to WWE, and now they have nobody over in UFC. But yeah, this Saturday we're gonna try and be live on TikTok while it's still with us for Royal Rumble. So make sure you follow us there. It'll be linked in the description of this episode. But we got this past week to talk about, like I said, we got a live, a televised house show, basically, but we'll break that down. Before we get too far into any reviews or anything, Ryan, Champ Contender Cut, I got one for you. Like I said, you're going to need your historian cap for this one. I think you're going to like it.
All right.
So, this week, we've got greatest wrestler to never win a world championship. Champ Contender Cut, Owen Hart, Scott Hall, or Roddy Piper?
Wow. That's a loaded one right there. Owen Hart, Scott Hall, or Roddy Piper. Well, first of all, I'm getting Champ out the way, and I'm going Roddy right there. Oh, Roddy is probably the most pivotal person besides Hogan of the 1980s era, because I mean, the first WrestleMania was built around Hogan and Piper. So I mean, if you didn't have Piper, you didn't have Hogan for that first Mania. So I'm putting him as my champ. Contender. Oh man, that's tough.
It's two different styles, because Scott Hall maybe not the best wrestler, but just absolute like charismatic. I mean, anything you could want. But Owen, maybe not the most charismatic, but great in ring. And when Owen had good material, he did well with it.
You're right, but then again, you have to look at it like, do you like the sizzle or do you like the steak? And for me, professional wrestling has always been about the sizzle. The steak, I mean, it's important, but it's secondary. So I'm going with Scott Hall for my contender, and then I'm going to cut the Blue Blazer, Owen Hart. Just because, I mean, if you didn't have Scott Hall with the NWO, would that have been a thing? Because he was the first one we saw on that Nitro to start out the invasion NWO angle in summer of '96, Micah. So played an important role and a pivotal character for the whole Monday Night Wars, right?
Yeah, I don't think the NWO gets off of the right, like, I don't think it gets off as well as it did if there's no Scott Hall to start it, to be that initial, like, flame.
Yeah,
And
and
I
Scott
love
Hall.
Owen.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, I think it kind of shows too that like Roddy and Scott Hall were both really like on the heels of becoming world champions multiple times. Whereas with Owen, I can't really say that there was ever like a surefire main event push behind him other than maybe like once or twice.
And it goes back to the thing I've said multiple times here on this podcast, Micah. If you eliminated this person from the history books, would it make that much of a difference? Like if you got rid of Owen Hart, would it really make a difference in the long run with telling the story of professional wrestling? I don't think so.
I think, as sad as it is to say, I think the tragedy almost kind of like anything you say about Owen, that's the first thing people think of is the tragedy, not necessarily like how good in the ring he was or how good he could have been. And I think he would have been, especially going into that new era, like with the Brocks and the Kurtz and the Chris Benoit's, like that would have been probably his prime. But like, can you say that you don't have the Hart Foundation without Owen? Yeah, you probably could have had it without him. Like I hate to say that, you know what I mean? But it's just, I think, like you said, Roddy and Scott are more pivotal figures in wrestling history that like their name 100% comes up.
And when you say if he goes into the new era, he'd be treated a lot better. I'm not so sure about that because he was as far down the card as you can get in '99. He was the Blue Blazer. And if you fast forward a little bit later and the tragedy never happens and he's still in the company, bro, you know how many stars are in the company at that point? Or do you really see Owen Hart floating around the main event scene when you got guys like Brock and Triple H and Shawn Michaels and Eddie Guerrero, Goldberg? You got guys like that. Man, I just never saw him as that guy. I mean, Owen was great in the ring, but he just didn't have the charisma, man. I don't think he could have got that far.
Well, with him only being 34 in 99, I think he at least probably had about 6 years left. And I mean, that puts us in 2005. I at least could see like a one-off, kind of like a Benoit or an Eddie, or I mean, he at least would have been like an upper tier mid card guy, I think.
It's hard to shake that mid card, bottom of the card feeling from somebody once they've been there for so long. Look at your guy Nick Nemeth. I mean, he's just now trying to find his way back into the main event scene. He had to reinvent himself in TNA, and I mean, maybe he'll make his way back to WWE. But I mean, like I said, it's hard to shake that mid card stink off you once you got it on you for so long. And if they wanted to do with Owen, they would have done something with him coming out of the screw job, because that's when he was. I mean, that was the point to strike with Owen after coming off one of the biggest things they did at that point.
Yeah, I mean, that's true. I don't really think I've ever thought about that.
Yeah, they gave him a one-off. I don't even think they gave it on. They didn't even make it a pay-per-view match. They gave him a one match with Shawn Michaels, and that was it. He never got any revenge for Bret or anything like that.
Well, to be fair though, you definitely have Shawn in Vince's ear, whereas Owen's definitely not going to have as much pull, especially after Bret did all that. Who's the next guy in line for trouble? It'd be Owen.
You got a point. And it would have been a mistake to put the title on Owen at that point when you had Steve Austin right there as the next great mega babyface. But
yeah,
now a good champ contender and cut. I like that.
Yeah, I thought it was a little something different. I was trying to, go way back, test your historian skills, but we'll move to the present, and that brings us to AEW Dynamite from last week, which was
live from an Amazon warehouse.
Well, come on.
Where's that?
January 22nd, 2025. I can get you the location because I do not remember off the top of my head.
It looked like a gymnasium, a warehouse, bro. It looked pretty It looked pretty low budget. I don't know.
I think it was Knoxville, Tennessee. I think it was the way
Right.
the Coliseum looked like, because instead of the crowd like flowing up, it had that giant like black riser
Wall.
basically,
Yeah.
and it just made it look so empty if they didn't pan out and do a wide shot.
It sounded empty at multiple points in the show. I mean, it got hot for a few things, but then they died really quickly.
Moxley's entrance is my favorite thing to gauge the crowd reception on, because there is no pop every time they come out. And,
Oh man,
and
come
we'll,
on.
no, I'm serious. Like, listen to it next week. It just hits that like riff or whatever, and then it's just kind of like
I don't know this song.
everybody's like looking around for him, and so there's no pop. It just it's dry.
Well, can you blame him?
No, not at all, but we'll get there. To start off AEW Dynamite, we had Kenny and Will Ospreay. Well, Will Ospreay started the promo off in the ring, and Kenny came out to interrupt. Then they were ambushed by Don Callis's family, if you can just believe that.
Wait, hold up now. It was good to see old Willie Boy dress up for the occasion. Had his patented sweatpants and tucked in socks and knockoff North Face jacket. Did you catch that?
It's a long flight from the UK. Maybe he's comfortable.
Okay, all right.
Does he leave? Certainly he doesn't fly back to the UK every week.
I wish he would.
Well, so Ryan, you're telling me that this did not restore the feeling for you.
Yeah, bro. You know, I didn't hate the segment. I just think it went on way too long. It went on for like 12 minutes. And at certain points, it didn't make any sense, because you had Kenny saying that he'll never team up with a guy like Ospreay. And then by the end of the segment is, oh, I misjudged you. I think we should team up down under. You know, his weird voice he does. You know, we still don't have a time for that show in Australia. There's no time.
Really?
We don't know. We don't know. No. They had like a little thing promoting the show, and it just said on TBS and on Max, but there's no time because they're doing it the day of the NBA All-Star game.
Why would they not push it another weekend or something?
Bro, they already pushed it out the venue they were booked for originally. They probably didn't have many dates to choose from. Remember it was in that stadium?
Yeah.
They had to move it out.
Odd decisions from AEW. I'm really sick of them forcing this Kenny Ospreay thing, especially with the Don Callis family.
Already.
Well, okay, they had their feud, they had their matches, like everybody raves about them. I thought their matches were pretty good. Like they're not just absolutely awful. Don't want to watch them.
Ospreay and Kenny?
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't watch them, but okay. No, they had that one match in AEW.
Yeah, they had one match in AEW. They had one in New Japan. And it wasn't the most insulting thing I've ever seen Kenny be involved with. So I thought they were solid at best. However, that was like 2 years ago. And Kenny's your star. You're building around him. Like, whatever. I really don't want to talk about the Ibu stuff. But
oh, please partake. What'd he say this time?
Did you hear those Discord, the things that he said, basically, that got him in all this hot water?
I know he says a lot of stuff online that's not reputable because there's no source. People say he just be making up stuff in that little Discord that he has, but go ahead, man, because I didn't hear. No, you tell me. You tell me.
So basically, when all this Punk stuff happened, Kenny and the Bucks wanted to go to WWE, and
we don't want.
So Kenny wanted to leave, But the Bucks didn't because they felt obligated for like the people that they like got a job there, and they felt like they wouldn't like that those people would get fired and it would be the Bucks' fault if they didn't stay.
Good.
So that's why they renegotiated. That is all hearsay. So don't take that as I am quoting truth, and that's why I
Are
don't
you
give a
reporting
crap. I'm not reporting that. That's why I don't give a crap to get in the reporting and rumor business because I don't want to be called a liar. But it's hard for me to not think about that with Kenny. And I know you can't think about the off screen character when you're analyzing the on screen character, but it's like the guy so obviously wants to be in New Japan more than he does AEW. And like we talked about that before I even heard that in the Discord thing because he came back on New Japan, not AEW.
I don't think his body can take that New Japan style anymore.
I mean that could be the case too. People watched that Gabe Kidd thing and I didn't watch it, but people raved about it and said, "Oh my god, Kenny's still the greatest wrestler in the world." Whatever. But it just aggravates me because it just kind of feels like he's phoning it in. Like, okay, yeah, Don Callis stuff again, Will Ospreay stuff again. Like, they're just drumming all this stuff up again. Why could Kenny not go on to something different if he's going to be your focal point and your star? Same with Hangman Adam Page. Like, what is he really doing anymore?
He's deleting Twitter. He did that. But,
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah. I think he confronted MJF on the show, but yeah.
But MJF's in the middle of a feud, so like, what? I don't understand the direction and
The creative. Yeah, the creative is really, really bad. And I'm sure it has something that probably has a lot to do with Kenny's looking like he has depression when he's on screen now.
that's what I'm saying too. Like he looks like he's just there because they're paying him. Like he doesn't seem interested in it.
Well, I mean, Micah, if you're giving that creative every week, are you going to be out there giving your all, giving your best? I mean, human nature, man. If you're not happy with the lines you're being forced to say, you're not going to give the lines 100% when you're saying them, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I guess that's true. I
He's
don't
probably
know.
looking at the state of it. I mean, look around, man. He was there in the beginning when they were selling out 10,000, 12,000 seat arenas weekly, and now they're in the Amazon warehouse wrestling in front of 2,000 people. I mean, that's kind of depressing.
We shall see what happens with old Omega, but we move on to a correct decision that they made in AEW, which is the Hurt Syndicate versus Private Party for the AEW World Tag Team Championships.
It's an extended squash, bro.
You said what?
This was an extended squash.
Yeah. But I'm okay with that because and I know like it's AEW originals versus old WWE guys, but like I can't believably believe that Private Party is supposed to beat the Hurt Syndicate. Like those two dudes look like they could just beat them in like 5 seconds. So yeah, it was like a 10-minute match, but that was fine. Like the Hurt Syndicate got over with the crowd. Like they wanted them. Like you remember when Shelton was throwing him into the railing? They were like, "Do one more, do one more." That's supposed to be the heels.
Well, I mean, look at Bobby Lashley and Shelton, and look at Private Party, man. I mean, they look like dweebs next to the Hurt Business when they look like actual stars. They've been treated like actual stars, and they've been booked like actual stars. I was on the fence about the booking decision, but I mean, I'm all for it now. Bobby and Shelton, they look like $1 million in there, and you know, man, it's just wild. They treated the tag champs, you know, the people that beat the Young Bucks, the supposedly greatest tag team of all time, the Young Bucks. They beat them, and then they treated Private Party like they were the Mulkey brothers in there, man. So, I mean, if that's restoring the feeling, then mission accomplished.
Yeah, you remember that sign he held up last week that had a picture of them two and Daniel Garcia with belts and it said "feeling restored." I think he still feels that way.
Doubtful. Doubtful. Very
I don't
doubtful.
know. Just I remember when I was, and again, I agree with this decision because Hurt Syndicate are stars. They look like stars. Their names, people remember them. But I remember when this whole adventure was starting, and it was no, we're not going to be like old TNA or WCW and like bring in all these old WWE. But like, let's really analyze the champions right now. Let's really analyze that. Your tag champs are Bobby and Shelton, two mainstay WWE guys. Your world
Yeah.
champion is John Moxley, mainstay WWE guy for a long time. Now he's been in AW for a while, but still, former WWE.
Yeah.
His
Number one contender.
challenger right now is Cope,
Jeff Jarrett.
Jeff Jarrett.
Christian.
Your TNT champ is Daniel Garcia. Your Ring of Honor World champ is Chris Jericho. So,
No, Christian's the Money in the Bank one.
yeah. So, like, at what point, where is we're not just going to bring in a bunch of the old WWE guys and let them run the roster? Like, because it seems like every Death Rider segment, they're just beating up on young guys and no selling for people that they don't want to sell to. So, what happened? The feeling is not restored.
Speaking of the Death Riders, why are they? Have you noticed that they're leaving the Hurt Business alone, and they left Private Party alone? They left Swerve alone. They haven't messed with Ricochet. What's really going on with Death Riders, Micah? You
Well,
tell me.
Neo Moxley.
Oh man. Well, there you go. You think Edge and Christian's gonna take the titles off Bobby and Show?
Oh God, I hope not.
Hey,
I
bro,
think they
why
should. They need to go with our plan that we said last week when we kind of talked about this for a split second, which was just put as many belts as you can on Bobby and just let him run the roster because like at this point the Death Rider stuff is not getting over, but the people like the Hurt Syndicate. They like Swerve. So
Yeah. What? They like Swerve? I don't know about that.
they like them more than the Death Riders.
I don't know, man. People pop for the catchphrase Swerve's house, but I don't think he's over like that anymore.
I don't know. But all in all, I thought it was a solid match. I think Private Party has a gripe because they like put Zay through the table, so like it was kind of a handicap match from then on out. And it didn't hang around for too long.
You talking about real life gripe or kayfabe? Because real
No,
life, they only had like 2 title defenses, bro. In
well, they
3
probably
months,
have a gripe for both, but I meant more in kayfabe. It's like, oh well, we were handicapped.
bro. They defended the title one time on pay per view. That was in like a 4-way tag match, and then the other time was I think it was against the Death Riders on Dynamite, but the B
And they didn't
Squad
even
Death
win
Riders.
it. They won it on Dynamite after a pay-per-view, didn't they? Because they lost to the Young Bucks, and then they did that stupid thing where they like wait a week and then give it to them, and it kills all their momentum.
Yeah, yeah. So the worst tag title run by far has got to be Private Party.
Yeah. Do you think the Hurt Syndicate is booking their own stuff because it's just vastly different than anything else on the show?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, I definitely think so. I think Bobby is a very smart man too, by not doing the JOB to Swerve, because I wouldn't have done that either. And yeah, man, MVP, he just makes them feel like stars, man. When MVP's talking for him, Bobby Lashley ain't got to say much, Shelton ain't got to say much. They can just go in there, suplex people and hurt people, as they say, and they're the most over guys in the show.
Well, I don't even have a segue. The main event of Dynamite was
Speaking of hurting people,
yeah.
they hurt us by making us watch this.
We have Cope versus Pac, which sounds like Vince McMahon's wet dream of a WrestleMania name main event.
Come on. Vince wouldn't even name that. Come on now.
Also, Cope Pack sounds like something that you would buy at a smoke shop.
You know what? You might be onto something. Yeah.
And let me get that Cope Pack. That's what you need after an AEW show, because you have to cope with the fact that CM Punk and Cody Rhodes main evented Monday Night Raw and probably one of the promo segments of the year. But we're getting there.
Well, you might have to cope with the fact that the Cope doesn't put anyone over.
No.
Bro,
So
go ahead, Mike. Go ahead.
I was gonna say he wins the. I didn't like
Of
this
course.
was on in the background. He wins naturally with this like lazy cutter that he waited like 10 seconds to cover Pack with, and I was like, this is the finish. Oh, buddy, it gets worse. It just keeps going downhill.
Yeah.
So then we pan to the back, and
we do.
I skipped this originally.
Yeah. I had to tell you, go back and watch this.
I can't believe I did skip it.
I told you what happened. You're like, wait a minute, what? That happened? Yeah, it did, buddy.
So, if you didn't see this, Cash is in the back, strapped to a chair with like duct tape over his mouth. And
How did he get there?
I don't know. And where was Dax? Like, I didn't see him anywhere. The Rock and Roll Express, who
Why
has
was they
not
there?
been mentioned at all on this show.
Why are they there?
But Tony Schiavone said they were doing marketing for them.
On Dynamite?
I don't know.
What does that mean, Mark?
I guess, like, I think he meant more advertising, like maybe they were doing local promos, but like, why would you not have them like there in some capacity earlier in the show so you would know that they're there?
Or at least show how they captured the Rock and Roll Express and FTR?
Yeah, but you really don't even know it's the Rock and Roll Express except for the announcers tell you, because they're laid out on the floor face down, and then they concerto Ricky Morton.
The announcers showed no emotion, bro.
No.
Fear, no anger, nothing. They showed no emotion.
Can we get some medics back there? So some security? Like, these guys are senior citizens. They probably can't handle a concerto.
Can you imagine 1998 JR on that call? Aneurysm right there live on commentary.
Exactly. So, well, we already know. We've droned on enough about how awful the announce team for AEW is. But then they come out there, and Edge, or Cope, has the dumbest babyface syndrome in the world. He just stands in the ring while he lets like all 5 of them surround him. And then Switchblade Jay White comes to make the save, and it's this big... But, like, why are the Rock and Roll Express there? Why are they involved in this? Where is Dax? Why is Jay White all of a sudden okay with it? Or, like, helping them? Because he was a heel.
But pause, Micah. Locker room full of people. The only person to come out to help this legend, Cope, is Jay White, and he gets beat down. Really? Nobody else.
That's been the story with the Death Riders thing. It's like the only people that care are job guys and Darby Allin.
Well, I mean, you got a point. All right. Gangrel wasn't there. Gangrel would have helped.
Yeah, he would have came up from the ring.
Maybe because Edge, he just the Cope. He doesn't have any friends back there because he refused to put anybody over.
Oh, I wouldn't doubt that either. Yeah, I don't know. When I was reading through the Bleacher Report review, you didn't
even look up what match was going on.
No, I mean, I'm saying, but before I actually spend time watching any of these shows, I always have to prep myself for whatever's on. And in the synopsis, they were like, while on paper, this wasn't the most like advertised Dynamite, it was probably the best one of the year. And I was like, dude, there was one good thing on this show, and that was the Hurt Syndicate beating beating Private Party. So I really didn't have a lot of gripe with that. everything else, like, I was not interested in. Like, the opening segment, but from there, it's such a downhill, like, the main event scene is so bad there right now. And then you look on the other side of the street, and you have stars on stars on stars, and it, like, you don't know who's going to win the Rumble. And over there, everybody is as cold as Alaska.
And then the crowds are getting smaller and smaller. Yeah, I think they're at the point where there is no turning back. Like, we will never see them in the 15,000 seat arenas anymore on weekly shows. You might get it for pay-per-views here and there, but as far as like weekly shows, that's over. Too much damage has been done.
That's my thing. Like, I don't know. At some point, when we started this podcast, and it wasn't even just when they had Punk, it was like, okay, you can right the ship here. You can turn things around. But, like, at this point, I mean, it's going to have to be an entire overhaul of half of the divisions. Like, all of the guys that are your homegrown guys are stuck in mid-card. And then the older former WWE guys are all in the main scene, minus like Swerve. Even though he's a former WWE guy, he's just somewhat younger. Like, you're not doing anything with Paige. You've involved Jay White in this, but that's after you cut his nuts off last year by making MJF just absolutely squash him. FTR, former WWE guys, and they're colder than ever. And you've got Bobby Lashley, who's really, I mean, technically working his way up to the main event scene. So, I don't know. Your main event guys aren't over. Your mid-card guys are starved for opportunities. And your tag team division makes no sense. And you've got this faction that nobody wants running it. This sounds just an awful lot like a company in like 1999 or 2000 that definitely draws no comparison to AEW, right? Like, that's
no, don't be ridiculous. Don't be ridiculous, Micah. I mean, you can't compare WCW 2000 to the AEW current day. Come on.
The writing's on the wall, and believe it or not, I want the best for them. Like, I don't want everybody to think, oh, y'all just doom and gloom AEW. No,
it stinks.
It stinks.
If it was good, we say it was good. Shoot, it's not good.
All a spade here on the Scoop Slam podcast. And that's why I praise the Hurt Syndicate, because their stuff is interesting. Swerve stuff, I'm for the most part interested in. Everybody else, I don't know.
You're not interested in MJF anymore. Mid-JF.
No, like that too. And that's crazy, because last year I would have been like, oh my God, I'm ready for MJF to come back. And then he would come back and leave and come back and leave. And then he's in a feud with Adam Cole. And we broke all this down last week about MJF's stick, but
Mid-JF. Let me ask you something before we move on, Micah. Do you think this is the biggest miss as far as like storylines that started out so promising and then just became so bad? You think the Death Riders storyline is the biggest?
Of all time, or in AEW?
And just in AEW. The thing that jump out to me, the storyline jump out to me, is the Devil and the EVP take. Those were like really, they started out, hot, and then they just kind of from there became the drizzling,
Yeah, I would probably put those two over it, just because, like, with this, you kind of already knew. It was like, why are they doing a takeover angle, like, right from the jump? But I was like morbidly curious, because it was something different from Moxley, and you hadn't really seen anything different from him. So it was like, okay, I'll check this out for the first couple weeks. And then it's like, the more you check it out, like, it still makes no sense. Like, I was watching the promo that he did at the beginning of the show. I think it was right after the Kenny Ospreay segment. And, like, I was like, I got hot about it, because I was like, what is he saying? Like, he's not saying anything. He's just speaking. It's like worse Bray Wyatt. Like, Bray Wyatt would eventually get to a point, but there's no point with Moxley. It's just words.
It's been going on for a long time now, too. And we still don't know why Marina Shafir is with them. We still don't know. That's because we don't know her.
But we do.
We do know her.
Well, anyways, let's get to something else before, we sit on this for too long. But, I will knock WWE for something. Saturday night's main event has been a failure to me.
Oh, come on. A failure?
It gets eyeballs on the product, but this is just Battle of the Belts 2.0.
Well, at least, well, hold up now. Let me stop you there, Micah. You called it, are you saying it's a glorified house show?
Yes.
That's what it's always been. If you go back in time, there was hardly any title changes on this main event. It was always treated like a glorified house show. Just the angles that they shot, some of them stood the test of time. Now, I will admit that none of the angles that WWE has shot over these last two Saturday Night's main event or is going to stand the test of time. But I mean, there've been decent wrestling shows. Gonna make it seem like it's just job guys from ROH all over the show like Battle of the Belts was. You're getting stars.
I mean, yeah, but I don't know. Like, the matches are condensed, which is fine for me because I really don't care to see 25+ minute matches if it's not WrestleMania
Bangers.
or SummerSlam.
The bangers.
Yeah. The real graps, bro. So that's fine with me, but like, just nothing ever happens. There's no big angles. And my biggest takeaway from this was there is no reason for me to watch this. Like, I could have just watched Friday Night SmackDown, missed this, watch Monday Night Raw, and been the same amount keyed in that I was before. And it don't help that, like, Triple H, that Royal Rumble is, like, right here, and that Triple H has this, like, booking pattern of not doing anything all year on SummerSlam or WrestleMania. But, like, oh my God. The best thing on the show was Jacob Fatu's 20-second promo before, and everything else could have been sent in an email.
Well, they did kind of shoot a pretty good angle at the end of that match with Fatu and Braun because, Jacob Fatu put Braun in a body bag, basically.
I agree with you there, but we'll break it down.
Quickly, we will break it down. We're not going to spend that much time on their show.
To start off, we had Rhea Ripley versus Nia Jax, and I love my girl Rhea, and I'm bigger. Let me rephrase that.
Oh.
I am higher on Nia Jax than most.
All right,
but I just had no interest in watching this.
I thought it was a good, quick girls match. It was fine. I'm just puzzled as to why Nia didn't wrestle Tiffany on the show. I mean, wasn't that built up for like 7 months? They'll
wait until WrestleMania to do that, though. That's what, like, it's just a big holding pattern. And
I don't know about that.
You don't think? I feel like that's the story they've been building to all year with Tiffany.
I feel like Charlotte is gonna come back and I hate to just give away my prediction right there, but yeah, I think Charlotte and Tiffany is the WrestleMania match.
Yeah.
We'll see though. I don't know. I legitimately do not know. This WrestleMania is very unpredictable.
Yeah. So regardless, we'll move on to the Intercontinental Championship match. Braun Breaker versus Sheamus. And I wrote, in typical 3-star general fashion, Sheamus had a hard-hitting and a good match, but nothing really to take away from it. Other than that spear in midair that Braun hit, that was really sick. But like, I got respect for Sheamus. He don't ever really have a bad match. He just don't ever really have a great match.
You know what? I will say, I hope you listen to the match with the sound up, because I did enjoy the body on commentary here. He still has a bias for Sheamus. because of, you remember that battle royal that Sheamus won to become number one contender back in
Yeah.
like 09? Well, that night that he became number one contender, it was because the body, he floated the idea of a breakout battle royal for the number one contendership, and Sheamus won that. So I mean, it's just funny that the body is still on Sheamus' side all these years later, and the body was giving Sheamus an out by saying, "Oh, the referee he counted three. His decision should be final." So I mean, I did like that. I did enjoy that.
Yeah, I didn't think he was bad on commentary at all. I mean, sometimes he, in typical like old man fashion, he like really tries to hammer in his point and it hangs on a little too long. But
Yeah,
like, I thought he was good.
okay, yeah, I give you that. Michael Cole and who else was it? Pat? Yeah, Pat
Yeah.
did. Michael Cole and Pat didn't know how to respond to his allegations that the referee counted three, because I don't think that was supposed to be part of the story.
Yeah, I think Cole like didn't really know what to say, and then Pat like did not have enough experience in that to like just kind of freeball it. But he was like, "Yeah, man."
The
So,
fans
oh,
are
go
still
ahead.
behind. I was gonna say the fans are still behind Braun, but I don't know. He hasn't really done much with the title. He faces Ludwig and Sheamus all the time. He needs to get away from them.
Yeah, I need like a big storyline from him or somebody to like really like with Jay. I mean, it kind of brought some life into his stuff just because he had to win it back, but I still wouldn't say that he has had just this surefire like storyline to solidify him as the next like big deal. Um, I don't know. I mean, it's a good reign, but it's just here's a match that's gonna happen, and the match happens, and that's it. And I mean, there's a couple beatdown angles here and there. I really don't know who you have him go up against, though.
As far as WrestleMania goes, or you just mean his next feud in general?
Well, I mean, since we're on the heels of WrestleMania, who would you like to see?
At WrestleMania, man, I don't know if there's a perfect opponent out there. I thought Goldberg was going to show up on Raw on Monday, which I could have swore they announced that. But since he didn't show up on Monday and confront Gunther like I predicted, maybe you get not Gunther, maybe you get Goldberg and Braun Breaker at WrestleMania. I can see that.
That would be pretty cool, I think. I mean, two kind of very similar styles and people. I wouldn't hate that. I just don't. I really don't know who you go with next because it kind of like there's an upper echelon of WWE, but they're kind of lacking in the mid card like guys because they've had the same mid card guys for all these years. The Sheamuses, the Kofis, the Xaviers, and all those guys deserve love and respect. But it would be nice to see somebody new. I really, and this may be a hot take, I would not hate for Oba to come up and just beat him night one at WrestleMania. But they're two heels and two similar styles and two new
Yeah.
guys. So I don't know that that would be perceived well.
Yeah, I don't know about that. I feel like that's a WrestleMania main event in the future. I don't know if I give it away night one. Maybe Penta. They were alluding to something on Monday with Penta and Braun Breaker.
I wouldn't hate that because it's different enough and it could be a good story, especially for like Penta's, rise in WWE, but well, we'll move
Braun,
on.
yeah, Braun just needs a story. But yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Next up, we had probably the best part of this entire show, which was Jacob Fatu versus Braun Strowman. And if you have not watched anything that we're talking about, and you're getting your Wrestling Weekly from us, seek out this Jacob Fatu promo before this match because it's 20 seconds. It's not going to take up any time of your day, but I mean, I don't. We talked about this off air. I don't think there has ever been someone in WWE like Jacob Fatu, and him and Tama Tonga kind of pair off of each other so well. And every second he's on the screen, it is so captivating. Like you've got to see what he's gonna do.
He makes every second count too, man. Those walking up backstage promos all done in one shot. I mean, it works, man. I don't know. I can see world champion within the next 6 months, honestly.
Yeah. I mean, as we always like to say, the airport test, like, is would you see that guy in the airport and be like, oh man, I'm not getting close to him. He's crazy. Or, oh my God, that guy's massive. We talk about that with the AEW guys or a lot of the younger, like NXT guys that they had at the time. But like Jacob Fatu, and they do it well because they talk about on commentary, like, he was in jail, like he's real. And I just think the whole thing adds to the character.
Yeah, and during the match, Cole built him up as a straight menace, especially at the match, man. Cole, but we talked about commentators having emotion earlier. Cole was selling this like he was about to murder Braun Strowman.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, he just did a great job selling him to the crowd, man. That's how you get a guy over. The commentators are supposed to be telling us the story. If they don't feel it and they are not telling us a convincing story, then I don't care. But I mean, what they're doing right now with Jacob Fatu, man, everything's hitting. The match maybe went a little too long, but the aftermath and Braun getting color, I thought that worked really well. And props to Jacob Fatu for being able to hit 3 straight moonsaults after he was gassed. So yeah, man, props to him. And they did everything right in that little segment.
Yeah. I also like that it was kind of a bigger guy, so we got to see Jacob sell a little bit, like for the first time really in WWE. And it was believable. It wasn't like he was selling for somebody that's half his size. So I actually liked that they put these two in the ring together because I wasn't sure how it was going to work. Because, a lot of times when you put in two bigger guys that don't really sell a whole lot, they don't know how to sell. But Jacob, man, he's, I hate the glaze, but I really don't see a flaw in his system right now.
No, I mean, he has it all, man. New tribal chief, I'm calling it right now.
Yeah. And see, that's another thing too. Where does Solo come back now? Because it's like, this dude's captivating. Like, I care about Jacob Fatu. I'm going to make an appointment viewing when Jacob Fatu's on my screen. I'm not really doing that for Solo.
He's gonna have to fall in line, man.
I wouldn't hate it. It would kind of suck to be that guy. You know what I mean?
Well, when you're right next to the other guy, then I can see why you get bumped to being the second guy. I mean, it just happens, man. Like the Nation of Domination wasn't built for The Rock to get over. It was built to get Farouk over. And then along the way, The Rock became the most electrifying man in sports and entertainment. And they kicked Farouk to the side. And Rock became a big megastar. Maybe we're getting that right here with Solo and Jacob Fatu.
Yeah. Well, following that, we had Jey Uso versus Gunther for the World Heavyweight Championship. And you called this last week, and I thought for sure there was no way that Jey Uso was going to win. And he didn't.
No, he's the Josh Allen of the WWE.
However, and just like Josh Allen, in the last minutes of the fourth quarter, they get me every time. Because I really thought when he hit that second spear and then the splash.
I did.
I was like, I wasn't watching it live, but you text me, you were like, Jay is fixing to win this thing. And when I was watching it, I knew exactly what you were talking about because I was locked in. And I was like, oh my God, he's going to do it, And the fans got up. They were nuts for him.
Oh, yeah. He's still over. They were running a little late on time, but he was still over.
It's such a curious case, though, because he is just not. I mean, he is the Goldberg of the generation, like where people just love him, and it's nothing about his in-ring ability.
It makes up for the in-ring ability with charisma. He lacks all the technical skills of being a great wrestler, but he's very likable, and he's sloppy in there, but the yeet is over, and I wouldn't have hated it if you would have beat Gunther here. I would not have hated it at all.
I don't think I would have either, especially because you kind of convinced me of it. Like, if they had made him a transitional champion, I think that was probably the perfect time to do it, especially right before Mania. And I should have known. I can't talk to you before they do pay-per-views because you always, like, kind of get me thinking, oh, man, they might get it. And then I'm always, like, at the end of the show, I'm like, man, this is Triple H booking. Why did I think anything was going to happen?
Oh, man, they didn't change any titles, man. They were just back at square one.
Yeah, I mean, and I feel like we've been like this since, like, SummerSlam with half of them. Especially because, like, Gunther's had the belt all year. Cody's had the belt all year. Braun's had the belt most of the year.
Gunther, go back to Gunther, man. That is a tricky situation because he was so dominant during that IC title run. He went through all his potential opponents during the IC title run.
Yeah.
So you don't really have any captivating matchups left for him to do. Maybe him and Punk, but is there anybody else that stands out to you that he hasn't had a match with?
Roman, but I don't think that I don't think that works well.
That would be a great match, but bro, he went through everybody.
Yeah. They even gave him Cody this year and it had no stakes.
Yeah, maybe it's time for a babyface turn.
I don't know. And that's we'll get to Raw too, but I really thought they were going to go with Punk and Gunther, but it looks like they're pivoting to Punk and Cody if Punk does win. And so now I'm like, who the crap is Gunther going to face at Mania? Like, is he going to fight Roman?
I'm not even trolling here, but if Logan Paul and Gunther had a match at Mania, I think it would do big business.
Well, I mean, it's Logan Paul in what could possibly be the main event of WrestleMania. Not the main event, but like main event one night. So, you know, I don't like him. I know a lot of people don't like him, but he does have an insane following outside of wrestling.
And he has great matches.
He does. You know, again, hate to admit it, but I can't knock the guy.
Yeah.
He might be a douchebag, but so are most of your favorite wrestlers.
Well, ain't that true?
But one last thing about this match, I thought it was really reminiscent of the Sammy match, where it was like Gunther does all of his not stereotypical, but like the typical moves that he like beats everybody with, like the dropkick power bomb. Like he hit all those and it like wasn't working to start out with, and he gets frustrated. And Sammy kind of capitalized on that. That's also why I thought they were going to that, because I thought they were kind of making it like Gunther's kryptonite is just this, like, I hate to say it because of how overused it gets, but the fighting spirit. But maybe like that's Gunther's kryptonite, and then Jay lost anyway, so it didn't matter. But they had me for a moment.
They were running low on time, and you could tell, bro, because Gunther started barking orders to Jay, and then Jay set up for his last spear, and he just basically fell into Gunther's arms for the power. But yeah, I think maybe you shave off a couple minutes from the Cody KO segment. I don't know.
Oh, I didn't write anything down for that, but I forgot to bring it up.
We don't have to talk about it. Sean super kick KO, and it was a pretty good super kick.
Yeah, everybody went, you know, clapped, rah rah. Yeah, some people griped online about Sean beating up the potential number one contender, but I was like, dude, it was one super kick. I don't think KO looked like a punk.
It's his hometown, and Sean needs to. I don't know, man. He needs to wear a do-rag or something. Because when he loses his hat, man, the aura just... it just evaporates, man. I'm like, oh no, put that... what do they say on Adventure Time? Put that bag back on. So, yeah, that was Saturday night's house show. And, okay, all right. Well, what else? We'll move to Monday Night Raw, which is the last show for us this week on our show. And they started off with old freaking Logan and Gunther. Freaking.
I cannot stand when he gets away from Punk and Drew.
You just want to retire, don't you? You want Seth to just retire, man.
I tell you what, as much as you think that I hate fat people,
You hate KO, yes.
if Seth was fat, just imagine the rage that I would have for him. I don't hate fat people, but
Well,
I mean, the
just
minute he
Ricky
gets
Starks.
out there, he does the freaking and the Monday Night Messiah and the Revolutionary and and it's just he's a different person if he's not with Punk and Drew. So then Gunther comes out and then he gets serious and I don't know, man. I'm kind of sick of Seth and it kind of feels like he never went away.
Yeah, but even when he goes away, bro, I feel like it's not long enough.
No.
Stay away for a few years, bro. Are you pretty young? Just enjoy your time. When Becky took her time off, why didn't he go?
He should have stayed gone as long as she is.
I think he
Or-
actually sped up the process when she went home. He started training a little harder. I don't know.
Yeah, she probably told him, well, you ain't got to go, but you can't stay here. I don't know. It just, or maybe a new gimmick, but like, how long has this gimmick that he's had?
I don't. The gimmick is just so forced, man. I don't. If he didn't have that chant, bro, like, would he be? Would people be cheering for Seth Rollins right now?
No.
I'm being honest. I'm being serious, man. I don't know. Maybe it's the newer fans that love him, but I just never got it. I enjoyed his work when he split away from the Shield, his in-ring work, but I think around 2018-ish, I don't know. It just seems like he doesn't have the same in-ring ability as he used to have, and that was most of his appeal for me. His whole gimmick and characters that he's played along the years, I don't think that's remarkable in any way. Like,
No.
okay, like if you those like little card games that WWE has, like you have Stone Cold Steve Austin card, the Rock card. Is anybody like? Do you think like 15 years from now, like, are they gonna have Seth Rollins cards? I
I
don't know.
mean, probably because they love to like even Gunther was like, yes, you're a surefire hall for WWE, but like genuinely, other than that World Heavyweight Championship run, which people have rose tinted glasses on because I remember when he had to defend it against Finn Balor multiple times because he didn't have any challengers. It really wasn't that good of a reign.
No, I lost interest in Raw when he was champ.
Yes. But he's like, this is the house that I built. That's the title that I made. And I'm like, dude, you're lame and you've been running this stupid Joker troll gimmick at least since like 2021. It's time to hang it up.
He was a top guy during a time where WWE was at one of its lowest points as far as like fan interest and fan satisfaction with the product, bro. Like, is Seth Rollins going to be the Diesel of this new era? Big possibility, man. I don't know.
I don't get it. And like, as much as I can say, like, I really don't get it with Jay either, I really don't get it with Seth. Because, like, Jay, at least to me, is charismatic. But Seth, again, if he's not with Punk and Drew, he just falls back into this. And I thought they were turning him heel at the start of the year because of the Punk stuff and like the way he was acting. And then he's right back against Gunther in same form and fashion that he's always been in.
If they still could turn him heel. I just don't know if I would have any interest in seeing it. I don't know. I have to see how they execute it, and I have to see how he takes to the heel turn because he's due for one, and he's due from getting away from all that revolutionary, visionary, architect nonsense garbage. But I don't. I think we got to talk about the real star of the segment, like Logan Paul.
Oh yeah, 10 times more interesting than Seth was in about a quarter of the time.
very controversial figure, Logan Paul.
Say what you want to, but the man gets reactions, and not in like a boo, we don't want to see you Hogan reaction. They were like Dominic Mysterio not letting this man speak.
It's like a combination of both, like Dom and Netflix debut Hogan. But I don't know, man. When you read the comments online, it's just mostly people saying, yes, we don't want to see you, and yes, go away. This is go away heat. Like, was that go away heat, Micah? Because I am personally, I think Logan is in ring, and as far as on the mic, I'm thoroughly entertained by him.
I didn't feel like it was go away heat. To me, it felt like we are booing you because we don't like you, and we are in on the joke, and so now we are booing you because it's getting even louder. Like it's like a groundswell. And so eventually it just keeps getting so much that the people just, they know what they're doing, and it's fun for them to boo that person because they can't speak. So I don't know. I didn't get the go away heat feeling. Like, it wasn't like they were throwing trash at him and just like demanding he be executed on the spot.
I'm sure a few people in that building wouldn't mind if he did get executed. But I don't know, man. I've been reading comments, and maybe I'm just online a little too much. But yeah, I'm entertained by Logan Paul.
I feel like it's a loud minority, and if a lot of people, I hate to be this guy, but if a lot of people really knew wrestlers, you'd really understand that a lot of them are Republicans anyways.
Maybe it's a little bit of that and a little bit of, the scamming. Because I think, didn't he have controversy with crypto not too long ago?
Oh, yeah.
And the Lunchable knockoff stuff, having moldy cheese in it, and I don't know, man. Mass hysteria for the Prime drinks, and Prime having some questionable substances in it. I don't know, man. Maybe that's a combination of all that, and the fact that he went into that suicide forest in Japan, and I don't think he's ever really apologized.
I mean, again, is he a scumbag and probably a douche and not somebody nice like in real life? No, probably not. But as far as on the wrestling show, I don't mind seeing him.
Yeah, I like him. He's a big star, bro. And he's great at what he does.
Yeah. So, I mean, he's committed to it, and it could be worse in terms of like some of the celebrity stuff we've seen, but like he really puts in the effort. So, and he's going to be at Royal Rumble, so we'll see what happens there. We'll move on to probably the biggest talking point in terms of just like, I saw this clip shared 1,000,000 times. The Judgment Day versus the War Raiders. And I didn't watch this in full. I really just caught the clip, but you said you were watching it live when all this happened. And if you haven't seen it, again, go search this out, because JD McDonough took probably one of the worst bumps I have ever seen in my life. And I'm not laughing because it's funny. It just, it like, I don't know, man. It's on like a fail compilation that you could just picture in your head.
I don't know. WWE roasts him so much about the size of his cranium, and then he takes that big bump on his head. It's just, I don't know. It was something comical about it in the moment, but once I seen him get up and start being active, I was like, oh, he's okay. I don't feel bad about laughing about it as much. But yeah, it was a nasty looking bump.
They said he broke some ribs and punctured a lung, or do you think that's a work?
Man, that table, he landed hard. So maybe it was all camera tricks, Micah. Maybe he slapped his thigh and he landed 3 feet away, and that was all just camera tricks. You ever think about that? Yeah.
I mean, if it was a real table, like I told you last night, the sheer size of that cranium would have just went right through it.
Well, I mean, it was a shaved down table. Don't get work.
You'll shoot yourself into a work. Don't work yourself into a shoot, brother.
It was a good match.
Anyways, yeah, and if JD is really hurt, we do wish him the best. But boy, that nasty bump, especially with the new announce tables. Like, I think if it was that would be the thing, but them new announce tables They don't give as much as the other ones.
Why are they so close? The announce
I
table's
don't
way too
know.
close these days. Is it because they want to sell more tickets?
Probably, if
Well,
we're being honest.
move the table to the entrance ramp like it used to be.
I don't hate that either. But then you can't get your cool announcer table spots, brother.
I guess you got a point. Yeah.
But we'll move on to my personal favorite thing of the week. And that was Cody Rhodes and CM Punk closing out Raw in the main event segment. And this was, I mean, this is probably in the running for promo of the year. And we're only in January.
Yeah, not a lot of ground to cover there, Micah. Come on.
Well, but I'm saying, like, last year, you remember we had the Seth, Punk, and Drew stuff around WrestleMania season, and I feel like this is one that we could be talking about later in the year, because Punk, like, the way that he just kind of explained Cody's entire character right now was perfect, and he was like, nobody knows what you're going through better than me, because Punk has been there, and they've talked about that over and over again, the 434-day reign, and like, Cody does look stressed, he does look tired, he does kind of find himself losing friends, as evidenced by the KO feud, so, I don't know, I think this might be the best thing that's happened all year in terms of, like, on WWE television.
3 weeks, Micah. Come on now. It's been 3 weeks.
Yeah, but they had that big Raw Netflix premiere that they did absolutely nothing with.
I don't know. I wasn't as high on the segment as you were. You know what? You can tell that Cody was a part of the elite because all his angles are be friends. Are you supposed to be my friend? Are you still my friend? Like, come on, Cody. It would be pretty funny if those two did main event WrestleMania because those were the biggest stars in AEW, and then they left under questionable circumstances. That would be pretty funny, but yeah, man, I thought it was an okay promo. I don't know if I would put it in. I don't think we're gonna be talking about it as promo of the year at the end of the year, but it was
I'm
fine.
kind of shocked that you didn't think about it the same way I did. I don't know, it felt more real than a lot of Cody's stuff does, and maybe that was just Punk's part of it, but I don't know, like, it
Yeah, I
really
like
kind of
Punk.
conveyed the trouble that you go through for being a champion, and then Punk was like, I get you. And they talked about their past in OVW, and like Punk said, a lot of guys try and come for me and come for my career, and then what do you say? He has a graveyard of careers that he's left behind. I don't know.
Yeah,
I thought it was like 10 out of 10, like perfect to leave off on the way to Royal Rumble.
I mean it's very rare that babyface goes through like turmoil like that, and Punk laid it out like you said. Told him how he dealt with it, and he also said, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna beat you at WrestleMania too." So it was fine, man. As far as a go home promo before the Rumble, nah, it was
You
there.
just in a hating mood this week, huh?
No, I'm not. I like Punk in this segment. Don't get me wrong, but I just didn't think maybe just the whole setup of the segment was weird to me because I thought the show was over. 'Cause Cody got beat down and then they went to commercial and
I
then
will
came
agree
back.
with you there. That was odd.
That threw me off big time because I was like, wait a minute, what's going on here? Is this it? Are we done?
Now, let me ask you this, and we'll get to our Rumble predictions. Well, I guess this can kind of segue into it. Do you think that they make this the main event of WrestleMania just to spite AEW? Because, like I mentioned earlier, these two guys had what to me was a 10 out of 10 segment on Monday Night Raw. And all you can do, and it sucks, but all you can think about for some of it is, man, both of those guys were in AEW and they never had a feud. Like,
Yeah, it's crazy. Or not even a segment. They didn't have an in-ring segment when they were there.
No.
How crazy is that?
And it feels like they are outside. Maybe Roman is in the mix too, but that's probably two of the three biggest stars that WWE has right now, if not two of the two biggest stars that they have. And like, I don't know, you can't. I know people are gonna be like, "Well, bro, all you have is trying to just doom and gloom AEW," but like, you can't watch that segment and not be like, "Dang, what could have been over there?" Like, somewhere in an alternate universe, this is what is main eventing in AEW, like All In or something like that. But instead, the two guys left, like you said, to weird circumstances, and now those arenas are packed out and sold out every week on WrestleMania. And you said it, AEW was in an Amazon warehouse this week.
Well, I don't think they would do it just to spite AEW. I mean, would it be something that they can point and laugh at? Yeah, sure. But I mean, if you're gonna do that match, you do it because those are the two biggest stars in your company. You don't do it just to spite the basement dwellers over there on PBS. I'm still a little, I'm a Rock supporter or a Rock number one fan of Dwayne Johnson. So I still got faith that we're gonna do that match at Mania. But if they did do CM Punk versus Cody, I wouldn't hate that at all. I think that would do big business.
Well, that leaves us on our last segment. We've got the Royal Rumble predictions for this weekend. To start us off, Ryan, we got DIY versus Motor City Machine Guns in a 2 out of 3 falls match for the WWE Tag Team Championships.
You want to hear something crazy, Mike? First tag title match. WWE tag title match since WrestleMania.
I don't doubt that, and the reason I don't doubt that is because who on that tag division deserves to be on a pay-per-view most of the time. Especially with the shortened cards.
Well, the Bloodline held it for a little while in the summer.
That is true. But even then, it just kind of felt like a rain. It wasn't dumb.
It was
wow. So, I don't know. I think personally, I was going to say Motor City Machine Guns as well. Just because they're new, and I think this gets them more exposure with them being on a pay-per-view. As much as I don't like DIY, I do think this match will probably be good just because it's 2 out of 3 falls, and they'll probably get a good time.
Yeah, they're open. They'll probably open up the show and they'll have a pretty good match.
Yeah. Following that, we've got a ladder match for the undisputed WWE Championship: Cody Rhodes versus Kevin Owens.
I think you go Cody here, maybe Randy interference somewhere. But yeah, I'm going with 3-star General Cody.
Him and Sheamus need to have a tag team with that name.
Mr. Friend, Cody Rhodes.
I think it's got to be Cody, just because WrestleMania is coming up. I don't think even you could sway me into believing that KO have a snowball's chance in hell in this one.
Well, hold up now. Sami Zayn, KO, they've had some interactions on TV. Sami Zayn has, kicked Cody Rhodes in the face last Monday. So, maybe KO brings Sami to the dark side and they pair up together and he helps KO win the world title. Maybe.
I don't think you're getting me this week.
Okay, all right.
For the Women's Royal Rumble match, I really don't know who to go with.
Okay, let me ask you, who's the surprise entrant? Give me a surprise entrant.
Well, I feel like we get Michelle McCool as per usual.
Oh, come on. That's not a surprise. We all know Michelle McCool. Give me something. Give me a hot take.
Well, I can't. The only one, and it's not necessarily a hot take, but it's just been rumored and innuendoed, Jordan Grace apparently signed a big deal with WWE, so I think she debuts here.
We're not doing is the wellness policy. Is that not a thing anymore? Ain't no way she passing that, right?
When's the last time you heard somebody break the wellness policy?
I think actually Roman, but you know, that was a long time ago. Yeah, you got a point.
I don't think it matters anymore, just because I think steroids are at the point now where the company can regulate it, where it's not just like people are getting like unregulated steroids and doctors aren't saying, here are bags of steroids. You know what I mean? I think they can divvy that out however they see fit.
I think the heat is kind of off steroids now. You don't really hear the news media talking about steroids as much.
No.
And I think everybody's come to the agreement that the whole Benoit stuff was just concussions and things of that nature. So I think the heat probably died off steroids.
Yeah. And I really I think the only person I can say with confidence would probably be Charlotte, even though I know that's going to piss people off. Like in my heart of hearts, I want to say Bianca because I like Bianca and Rhea, but they're both baby faces right now. They both have titles already, and I just don't see that happening.
That would be a great match, though. But yeah, I'm going with your Charlotte prediction. Yeah. It just makes too much sense, man.
And for the men's Royal Rumble, for a World Championship match at WrestleMania 4. Yeah, that's it, man. No 4-match card.
Okay, all right. Never mind. Go ahead.
For what we would assume would be the main event of WrestleMania, right? Who you got?
All the momentum is with CM Punk right now. So I think you ride that momentum with a Royal Rumble win. And it has been a long time coming. CM Punk has accomplished everything in his career. Everything possible to win, he has won. The only thing he has never done is win the Royal Rumble. Well, two things. He's never won the Royal Rumble, and he's never main evented a WrestleMania. I think he rights both of those wrongs this year, and he finally wins the Royal Rumble. I think it just makes too much sense.
I think, like you said, all signs lead to CM Punk winning the Royal Rumble. And that is exactly why I think, yet again, CM Punk gets cucked by John Cena. No. I think John Cena wins this year's Royal Rumble.
We're not watching Mania if that happens, bro.
Come on, he's not Orange Cassidy.
Ah, man. Can you imagine that John Cena eliminating CM Punk, man?
I'd be sick. I'd be sick like I was 11 years old again.
Man,
but again, that's why I feel like it makes too much sense for Punk, so they're gonna go Cena.
He hasn't even been on TV.
I know.
You think they're gonna give him after being on TV one time?
Yeah.
I don't know. Ah, man. Wow. Man, if Triple H does that, man, I've lost all faith in his booking.
If what I'm hearing is true.
Oh man.
Poor Walter.
I just don't see. You can. If you want to give Cena a title match at WrestleMania, which I don't think he needs, and I don't want to see that, you can do that without giving him the Royal Rumble, bro. He's already won the Rumble twice. You want to be a 3-time winner of the Rumble?
But yeah, because then he could have the record.
And well, he tie the record, Steve Austin.
Or tie the record, yeah. I don't know. There's a lot of people out there. It's not me. I don't want to see it. I'd rather Punk win, and I really hope he does, but I don't know. I just got a feeling.
This is probably the most star-studded Rumble in a long time.
Yeah.
Do you got any predictions as far as surprise entrance? Chris Masters?
I don't know. I feel like Joe Hendry makes an appearance.
Oh, come on. I think that's the worst kept secret.
I feel like my man Nick Nemeth makes an appearance.
Well, does he get a pop?
I think he gets a pop.
Well, he's got to use his old theme then. He has to be Dolph Ziggler.
That's the other thing. If he did come back, would he be Dolph Ziggler or Nick Nemeth?
Well, who the heck is gonna know Nick Nemeth? And they'll probably give him a generic theme music, man. I don't know. Do you know his TNA theme? Because I don't.
Yeah, man, it's Wanted Man. He's a wanted man.
Okay, well, you are the only person on earth that knows that his theme song.
Come on.
I don't. I'd be a little disappointed if it's Dolph Ziggler and Joe Hendry.
Okay, what about Matt Cardona?
Isn't he on the AEW payroll?
No, I don't believe so. I think he's just there for one shots.
Well, didn't he? Is he gonna face Jericho at a pay-per-view, or that already happened?
I don't know.
I could have swore he was a number one contender for the ROH title. I could be
I'm
wrong.
not on the Jericho beat.
Oh, you're not with the Learning Tree.
Yeah, I'm not with the Ayatollah of rock and rolla anymore.
Well, I was back in 2006, but no. Anyway, man, I wouldn't mind seeing a Chris Masters come back for a one night only.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Just the TNA partnership kind of, I feel like that's where they'll lean. But then again, man, you got to remember, because we were there last year. Don't get your hopes up for surprises, because they ain't done that in like 4 years. So I have zero hope for any.
Bro, you tell me you wouldn't pop for the Monster Abyss coming out? I would.
I would pop for that. Or maybe, like, what about even some NXT, like Oba?
Oh, well, I mean, that's fine, but I'm old school, man. Rumble should always be about seeing 2 or 3 old guys from the past come back for one night only. They don't have a shot of winning, but I mean, it's just fun to hear the old entrance theme. It's fun to see the guys you ain't seen in a long time. So, I mean, if I had my way, man, I put Masters in there. Is Alberto Del Rio, is he rehabilitated his life yet?
Oh God, no.
I'm just asking. I don't know. Is Swagger available?
That's what I was about to say. What about old Jake Hager? No, I think he got too far in the right wing. Well,
in the
that
right
don't
company,
matter.
man.
I was about to say.
In the right company.
Well, anyways, we'll wrap this up. Like I said, we're gonna try and be live on TikTok this weekend for Royal Rumble. So make sure you come hang out with us. That'll be linked in the description of this episode. Thank you guys for listening. We will be back next week with a Royal Rumble review on the pod. And in the meantime, take care of yourself. Thank you for listening and have a good one.